Welcome to Healing and Rebuilding After Leaving Jehovah's Witnesses. Lesson 7. Programming. Did you know you've been programmed from birth? You've been programmed more than once, most likely many times. Your programming has many layers. You've been programmed by your parents, your school teachers, your school and work colleagues, maybe your driving instructor or your piano teacher, and in the case of a Jehovah's Witness, your religion. You've even programmed yourself. To stop thinking like a Jehovah's Witness, we need to consider how we were programmed in the first place. Let's begin by defining two types of thinking. 1. Conscious thinking. By this, we mean focused, concentrated thinking, where we actively analyse information and make conscious choices. It's what we tend to do with new information. It's often evident when we are learning. 2. Subconscious thinking. This is where we have already accepted information via conscious thinking and no longer actively analyse it. We accept it and file it away as processed. It's what I tend to think of as programmed thinking or unconscious thinking. In many respects, it's not really thinking at all. It's more instinctive, based on the preferences and decisions we've already considered. Every minute of every day, you're fed information through your senses and called upon to make decisions, some important, but most mundane. Initially, you'll carefully analyse the incoming information to make a conscious decision, but once the information is learned and accepted as valid, safe, and even beneficial, it'll be filed away in your subconscious. At a future time, when you're faced with the same or a similar decision, you may find you no longer think it through consciously. Instead, you respond without thinking, pulling your instinctive responses from your subconscious mind. Take driving a car as an example. When you first started learning to drive, every step was calculated and thought through in detail. You kept repeating mirror, signal, manoeuvre, conscious thinking, but then forgot to change gears. You stalled and rolled back on the hill. More than once, your driving instructor had to shout, "Stop!" But eventually, driving became a mostly subconscious action. These are learned behaviours. At some point, we've consciously processed the incoming information and then filed our responses into our subconscious. The thing to note about subconscious thinking is that the information isn't always the result of analysing the information itself for validity. Sometimes things make it into our subconscious filing cabinets because we trust the source of the information. This especially occurs with children who, although curious, will often accept what a parent tells them purely because they are their parent. In the case of Jehovah's Witnesses, the source is what the governing body teaches, what you read in Watchtower publications, and what you hear spoken from the platform at congregation meetings. Having come to believe that this is God's channel, anything they publish as truth is accepted as such. This is especially the case since the so-called truths are repeated over and over again. This is how indoctrination works. If you hear something enough times, especially if it's from a trusted source, you begin to accept it as true without ever consciously questioning it. When it comes to cults and high control groups, they aim to manipulate 4 things: your behaviour, the information you are subjected to or restricted from, your thoughts, and your emotions. These 4 areas, behaviour, information, thought, and emotional control, are addressed by Stephen Hassan in his BITE model. This is a checklist with over 50 identifying marks that can be found in cults like Jehovah's Witnesses. Stephen Hassan's book, Combating Cult Mind Control, discusses the BITE model in great detail. You can also view a copy of the BITE model online at freedomofmind.com/cult-mind-control/BITE-model.